you work this thing?
When you wish to talk, press the button.
We ain't no mental subjects. I done some dumb things, but I ain't a goddamn mental subject.
What's your name, son?
My name's Clovis Poplin, and this here's my old lady, Lou Jean.
45 years ago, actor William Atherton got his big Hollywood break when he co-starred with Goldie Hawn in Steven Spielberg's first theatrical feature film, The Sugarland Express. Spielberg's biographer, Stephen A. Walt, has hailed Atherton's portrayal of Clovis as the emotional window into the film, and I agree. So to celebrate the film's 45th anniversary this month, I'm going to zero in on Atherton's performance, provide some background info about how he got cast in the film, and analyze what makes his performance so good. William Atherton began his career as an actor in the late 60s, at a time when actors typically went to New York for talent, since that's where all the banks were. On the stage, he built an impressive body of work, securing an agent just before getting a role in a 1971 production of The House of Blue Leaves, and later that year, starring in the title role in the premiere production of David Rabe's Vietnam play The Basic Training of Pavlo Hummel. His first two appearances in movies were in The New Centurions and in the Summer of '42 sequel Class of '44, and he ended up on a list compiled by Eleanor Kilgallen, the casting agent for New York. Steven Spielberg, meanwhile, was trying to get a cast together for the Sugarland Express and had been going to New York to meet people. Atherton came to Los Angeles to test for the role of Clovis Poplin, and that's how he got the part.
Now, I just might see what happens if I shoot a load of buckshot in that commode. I said I just might see what happens. I put another hole in that thing. It's only me.
The role of Clovis was loosely based on the tragic true-life story of a man named Bobby Dent, an ex-convict who, with his wife, Isla Faye, had taken a state trooper hostage and had led a police chase across Texas in an attempt to reunite with his stepchildren. The chase had ended with Dent getting shot and killed by the authorities. Atherton researched the story by hanging around the pre-release jail where the real Bobby Dent had once been held in custody, but the authorities didn't want him there since it wasn't safe. Atherton was given 2 weeks of rehearsal to prepare for the part. As far as the character of Clovis was concerned, Atherton interpreted Clovis as being a man who wasn't very bright.
I want my baby back. Are you gonna help me or not?
Well, where's he now?
Over in Sugarland. But now that they got him, I just bet you those Methodists are getting ready to move out of state. And I want to know if you're gonna help.
Well, sure I am. Sure I am. Sure I am.
He asked himself, what kind of a guy would so recklessly follow his wife on a futile journey to get their son back? The answer, a guy who was overwhelmed by his wife.
No!
If you don't, this is our last time.
In the film, Goldie Hawn's character, Lou Jean, is so hell-bent on getting her baby son back from a foster home that she can't see the forest for the trees. Because of all the encouragement which they receive along the way, Lou Jean thinks that they're destined for a happy ending, but Spielberg infuses the film with a sense of unease, indicating to the audience that the story isn't going to end well. Lou Jean is never aware of this, but Clovis is all too painfully aware of it. So while Goldie Hawn's task in the film is to play a daydreamer, charming her husband and the people of Texas with her unbounded optimism, it's William Atherton's job to play the audience surrogate, because, like us, he is bracing for an unhappy outcome.
What if we don't get the baby?
Of course we're gonna get him. That's why you stole that old police car, ain't it?
I guess so, yeah.
You guess it is.
I guess you're right.
Do you miss me?
Every day.
I like to hear you tell me that. I missed all that sweet talk. Wish we could get drunk. We always used to get drunk together. You're fun drunk. Except when you're throwing up in the back of Bill Fayle's Chevelle.
Jane, I mean every word of this. You're my wife, and I love you. Even if we don't get the baby.
The scene in the film which always gives me chills is the scene where Clovis entertains Lou Jean by coming up with his own sound effects for a Wile E. Coyote cartoon which they don't have sound for. Spielberg himself had much to do with this sequence, and he told Atherton, "Why don't you play the cartoon for her?" This is also the late Vilmo Zsigmond's signature shot in the film, with the image of the cartoon reflected back onto Clovis himself. We see Clovis at first laughing at the cartoon's slapstick, only for his smile to fade as he watches Wile E. Coyote plummet over the cliff to his doom. And what was once funny is not so funny anymore, because Clovis now knows that he is Wile E. Coyote. He is doomed. He is going to die.
Damn that Bennett. God damn the trees in the way, Fino. No, he's going back. He's going back? Yeah. I could get him easy, but it won't be clean.
When it was time to shoot Clovis's death scene, Atherton interpreted Clovis as being in such a state of shock that he loses control. At one point, he says, "Look at all those crazy kids."
How about all them crazy kids?
Which is based on something Atherton himself once enthused during his childhood while watching a movie. At another point in the scene, while Lou Jean is throwing an hysteric fit, Clovis remarks, "My wife is so loud." And Atherton may have based this on something actor Ben Johnson said on the set about his own wife. Screenwriters Matthew Robbins and Hal Barwood had tried to write the Sugarland Express from a kaleidoscopic viewpoint so that the audience wouldn't experience Clovis's death as a shattering event, in the belief that there'd still be other sympathetic characters in the movie for the audience to cling to. But Clovis's death is a shattering event. To me, it's what ultimately makes the film so powerful. But preview audiences in San Jose were so shocked by the film's dramatic conclusion that some allegedly walked out of it in tears, while others walked out in anger, having expected that the film would be more of a comedy. Fearing that it would not be a commercial success, Universal pushed the Sugarland Express's release date from Thanksgiving 1973 to April 5, 1974. When the film finally opened in 250 theaters across the country, it did manage to get some good reviews from critics, most notably from Pauline Kael, who hailed Spielberg's work as one of the most phenomenal debut films in the history of movies. About William Atherton, she wrote, "Atherton's performance gives the picture solidity. Without him, it would be a giddy new-style screwball comedy, but he's the sparrow who falls. With the director's help, Atherton, he looks like the skinny offspring of Robert Redford and Paul Newman, deepens the picture. We begin to share Clovis's apprehensiveness." Unfortunately, the film's box office results were disappointing, grossing a modest $7.5 million in the United States and Canada, and an additional $5.3 million overseas, making a small profit only after being sold to television. Atherton and Goldie Hawn were both deeply upset that Universal did very little to promote the film in North America. However, Atherton loved the film itself, and in spite of its low box office grosses, it was the film which finally launched his movie career. The following year, he starred as the mean, lecherous, and finally horrifically injured artist in John Schlesinger's surreal adaptation of The Day of the Locust. But interestingly, when Atherton took a trip to the Cannes Film Festival, everyone there preferred to ask him about Sugarland Express instead. Atherton never had the aspirations of being a movie star, so from the late 70s onward, he found a comfortable niche playing character parts, as the strange welfare caseworker in Richard Brooks's adaptation of Looking for Mr. Goodbar.
Oh, the story about my mother and my father. It never happened. I'm sorry. Good night.
As Walter Peck in Ghostbusters.
Forget it, Venkman.
You had your chance to cooperate, but you thought it'd be more fun to insult me. Well, now it is my turn, wise ass.
As the corrupt professor and real genius.
I took a big chance in recommending a 15-year-old. I can see now that I made a mistake. I hope you're proud of yourself.
Thornburg in Die Hard.
Eat it, Harvey!
Tom Cruise's enraged employer in The Last Samurai.
This is your last performance. You're fired. Now get out there.
But it's Atherton's portrayal of Clovis in the Sugarland Express which is my favorite performance of his, because he managed to convey the kinds of anxieties which a lot of us feel in our everyday lives whenever we find ourselves struggling to navigate through hopeless situations. We may not like what Clovis does in the film, the way he always does whatever Lou Jean tells him to do, or how he steals cars, or how he takes a state trooper hostage. But it's a testament to William Atherton's talents as an actor that we still care about Clovis anyway, even when we know deep down that by the end of the film, Clovis will have lost everything. Because sometimes, the best and most moving films are the films where the heroes are the losers. Thanks for watching.